Hey, I made it to Oregon. I'm with my sister and my mom in one room. It could get a little dicey, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, I am here. I don't know what else to say other than yeah, we had a really bad loss. It's a really sensitive subject that I don't know if I really want to touch on, but you know, due to the COVID situation, people are I don't know what I don't know. All I know is it's really difficult to talk about. It's hard to talk about people that are dying. There's a lot of death right now. It's everywhere. I never in a million years thought that I would come to Oregon to see my baby brother see his middle child off to heaven. But here I am. There's not going to be a religious service because there's freedom of religion, and they don't, freedom of religion means that people are sometimes free of religion. I don't go to church, but I'm very religious. I'm just a product of an old environment, I'm a product of the days when people used to go to church every Sunday and gather afterwards for a big meal with friends and family. People don't do that anymore. There used to be a basis of religion in my life as I was growing up. And I see, not everyone is like you. People are different, and no one, my own son went to Catholic school for his whole entire life, and he's, smarter than religion now, I guess. So there won't be that type of a service. My nephew had just turned 21. He had what every 21-year-old wants to buy when they're 21, guns. Apparently he had 3 of them. Oh. There won't be a viewing. But there will be an autopsy. We won't find out for 3 weeks, or 12 weeks, I'm sorry. It reminds me a lot of, other family members that have died. It's a difficult time. I'm still in shock. But there are other family members that are younger. Like my other nephew, Corbin, just turned, he just turned 18 yesterday, so we're having a party for him today, and you just gotta look out for the younger ones that are still around and they're still trying to figure things out. There's definitely a blaming game. You blame yourself sometimes. You wish you could have done more. You wish you could have came up more and visited more, and and not let so many times, so many years go by, you know, without seeing each other. But the last 2 years of COVID haven't helped. I'm glad that when I was, you know, really leery and wary of what was happening around the world with the China virus in 2019, you know, they were talking about just craziness going on. And I must have had some type of epiphany, because in September of 2019, I wanted to visit my brother. And I hadn't flown in like 15 years. I think the last time I went on a plane was in 2003, I think, or maybe not. That was the last big trip, because it was a family trip. It was a wedding. My husband's brother, Brian, was getting married, and it was at, you know, in Panama City. So we flew out to Panama City, the whole family, and, you know, that was a great time. I think I flew again a couple of times, and maybe once to Vegas and another time from Vegas to like San Francisco. I believe that was in 2007. So it's been a while since I was on a plane. And in 2019, when I decided that I wanted to get on a plane and go see my brother that I hadn't seen in like 10 years, you know, it made a lot of sense to me. Of course, when I came back in September, you know, I was gone for maybe like 4 days. Something was just, you know, giving me a lot of anxiety, and I was very apprehensive. And then at the end of December was when we learned that there was a virus in Wuhan, China, and, you know, they were worried that this was the Wuhan flu was starting to get, you know, it was starting to spread throughout China and all the Asian countries. And that announcement happened on December 21st of 2019. So if you fast forward to January of 2020, well, you guys all remember what we had to go through with that. You know, people were still not believing what was happening. China didn't go into lockdown the first time for like 70 days until January the 27th. So, you know, and then pretty soon after, a couple months later, came March of 2020, and that's when, you know, America started to go into lockdown. So to say that I'm not intuitive, it would be a grave mistake. I came to see my brother in 2019, September of 2019, because something told me that he needed some family around, and that's why I came. And I came to meet his extended family, you know, the kids' grandparents, my new sister-in-law. I was happy to come and meet everyone and spend time. It wasn't a lot of time, it was only 3 days, but like I was able to do that, you know. And that was really healing for me, you know. But 2020, March of 2020 to March of 2021, you know, was an entire year of lockdowns, just nothing but lockdowns across America. And being in Oregon, you know, I got to see like pre-COVID conditions, and then afterwards I got to see, you know, well, we came in February because my cousin, my other sister-in-law, my husband, my little brother's first and only wife, had diabetes, and she didn't take care of herself very well. She wound up passing away, you know. She had her leg amputated, then she had her foot amputated, and then there was an infection, and it just took over her body, and it wasn't a good scene. So that was in February of 2021 when I came. Now you fast forward to today, 22nd of April. I'm back in Oregon. to bury my nephew after we buried his mother. It wasn't actually a burial because, you know, extreme times call for extreme measures, and so, you know, I guess the best thing to do was cremation. So we're doing the exact same thing again. I don't know if it puts things into perspective for me, but like, you definitely realize that life is short, and you just have to be very vigilant of the young kids right now, because the pandemic is not making things easier on him. My nephew had a friend recently who, you know, for whatever reason took his life, and my nephew Xavier had gone to see him, and the morticians didn't do a good job, and he was battered and horrified by what he saw. And to say that his death makes no sense because he was just, you know, he had a lot of respect for guns. So while it's being looked at as they are looking at it, for legal reasons, you know, there's not really a way to contest that label. And so it's difficult to say, but you know, we are, you know, there's a saying when you become a bartender, you know, basically it's one of the rules that you can't talk about, you know, sex, religion, or politics every time, especially when you're serving the public, because those are taboo conversations that don't need to be had across a counter with a bartender. You know, and there are other aspects of that, you know. You're talking about the ABC now, you know, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So it's very difficult to label anything because it's, you know, one, too soon, and two, just out of respect for the family. But, you know, this is America, and everybody has a right to carry. And while he was 21, he wasn't, he was not, he definitely was affected by his friend's death, and there was apparently more than one person that he knew recently that had happened to. But the logistics don't add up. And it doesn't make any sense. So the paperwork for the guns were all in order. But again, the numbers don't add up. And it's just hard to evaluate when everything is so fresh, you know? It's just a difficult time. You know, of course you want to defend him and say, you know, he was a gun owner. Like, gun owners don't, it just goes against the grain, but with 3 witnesses in the room, with 1 witness running out. There was a slap of a hand, and the gun went off. So it just sounds like, it just doesn't make any sense. You realize what the things in life that are important, you know, when you go through something like this, because you literally come to terms with just how short life is. You know, you could be here today and gone tomorrow. The last time I was here, which was just recently in February, we came to see Xavier's mother off. She had just been really sick, and there was really not much that we could do. And of course, that's never easy on children. Never. So it's just hard. But today we are in celebration mode. We have to, you know, obviously go and visit my nephew and get and you know, have him a little party for his birthday, for his 18th birthday. Because you have to carry on. This is what you do. You carry on. You know? Death comes at you. And you carry on. So... yeah, that's the trauma of the situation. The traumatic event. Trauma is a bitch. It's raining here in Oregon. I gotta go upstairs and get dressed. Maybe work out. But yeah, there's a lot to look at, a lot to investigate, a lot to just work through with our emotions. You know, family affair, you gotta be ready for people to, like, you just have to be ready. Ready to talk about your feelings, how you feel, what does, you know, how does this change your life? It just changes your life. Yeah, this is a depressing post, but I needed to get out of the hotel room because, you know, I'm used to being alone and I like things my way, and right now I have to be with my mom and my sister, and not that they're getting on my nerves, but, like, you know, there's just a lot of different things that I don't really like about, like, the Latin culture. And I'm 50 years old. I feel like I deserve, you know, all the respect. And your family sometimes is not willing to give it to you. So I'm too old to fight about it. Too old to demand it. It has to be a given. And as I get older, I'm learning that you can't just sit there and just fight people because they want to fight you. You know what I mean? You have to just fucking take it with a grain of salt and walk away. Like, literally remove yourself from the situation, because people are crazy and unpredictable, and you can never know what they're willing to do. And I'm not the kind of person that's gonna sit around and get ganged up on by my own family. I'll just leave, you know? There's nothing here for me, so I'm just gonna go. But I can't do that right now because I'm here for 7 days. So, I'm just gonna have to work through my fucking aggressions. You know, there's a lot of anger right now in me. I'm pissed off. You know, I can't believe that my nephew is gone. I just can't believe that. So it's hard to say what, you know, obviously there's no good that's going to come out of someone, you know, who, you can be angry all you want, but it's not going to change anything, you know? People are constantly just trying to make it to the next day and through the next day. Countless families have lost family members. Tons of families have lost family members. I mean, just look at the death toll for COVID, you know? There's a lot of death, a lot of, right now there's a lot of guilt. I wish I could have spent more time here. So there's a lot of guilt and a lot of anger. Anger that it didn't have to be this way. Guilt that I could have done something to help him. A lot of if I could have just done this or that, you know, but it's just blaming yourself for something that only God knows. Only God knows. It just happened so fast. I mean, we're just here. It just happened so fast. So there's not much that you can do about the trauma. All you can do is work through it. Get through it, you know? Find whatever it is that you can to alleviate the suffering, you know? The key to handling trauma is to suffer less. So if you need that 15 minutes of time away from the people around you, take the 15 minutes away from the people around you. If you need to remove yourself from a situation because the grief is overbearing, find your comfort zone. Find what you need to do. Help yourself to heal. Because the worst thing that you can do is wallow in grief. Thank God that there's a lot of death right now, because everybody is mourning or knows of someone that's mourning or is close to someone that's, you know, known someone or knows somebody that is mourning. And grief is really, really hard. Everybody grieves different. I'm in the anger phase. I just don't know what to do. And I'm too old to be lashing out. I can't go out and say, oh, you know, and just go off and go crazy. I'd like to, but I can't do that. This is something that has happened in my life to prepare me for something else. You know, it's just a difficult situation. Very difficult. But I gotta go back upstairs because it's noon now and I gotta get ready for a birthday party. Because you know what else happens when people die? Life inevitably goes back. You know, life is is not going to stop. The world is going to keep spinning. So shout out to all of those that have lost someone through a traumatic and violent event. And also to those who have died, to those who have lost people who have died of the disease that's currently infected the world. Oh, God. Thanks for listening. So, if you haven't been to my channel before, this channel is how I cope with my life events, but more importantly, what trauma does to the body as an injury. And if we all have to suffer together, because nobody suffers alone, and that's what the Bible says, then that's what's going to happen. You know? That book is a guideline for our lives. It's raining out there. I don't know what else to do. They gave me a pretty nice car, huh? Yeah. Well, I hope everybody's doing well. Please subscribe to my channel, like my video. If you need to share it, you're welcome to it. Comment. Let me know what you think. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.